Walk. You're welcome. Thank you very much for attending our daily Bible study. We come here every morning, early in the morning, get ready for our Bible program that we have for you. We have for many years gone through the Bible cover to cover. This is the third time that we go through the Bible verse by verse, chapter by chapter. Want to let everyone know out there in Las Vegas, it's 22 degrees. Looks like the winds are calm now. They were at 6 miles an hour, and we were in the teens for wind chill, but that's over. We also broadcast not only on 95.7 FM, but our teaching is on Facebook, LV Cornerstone, and YouTube, LV Cornerstone Church. So just to let you people know that we are out there and trying to cover all of these bases. So you want to see the scriptures that I'm looking at, and maybe once in a while a dictionary or a commentary, or try to get into a name and break it down a little bit. If you're watching Facebook, you can see that, because here's what we do. We put on the Bible program that I have in front of me on my computer, which is called eSword, the program that I've used and that I recommend all the time. We are in the 11th chapter of Judges. Have I said that yet? Yeah, only about 14 times. Anyway, we're looking at a particular person, okay? We are looking at one of my brother's favorite guys in the Bible. We were talking about this yesterday. He says, Jephthah, I like this Jephthah guy. Anyway, Jephthah is one of the judges. There has been a series of judges throughout all this book. It will be more, because pretty soon we're going to be talking about Samson, which is going to cover a few chapters. Gideon covered 3 chapters or so, some of them just a paragraph or two. Jephthah, a couple of chapters. Samson, we're going to see a lot of stuff about Samson, who is just one of the judges that is bringing deliverance over to Israel in the time of their possession of the promised land. Before there was kings, there was judges in the land. Jephthah is one of these guys, okay? We learned about Jephthah, and if you're with us on the screen this morning, you can see there, Jephthah was a Gileadite, a mighty man of valor, but he was the son of a harlot, and Gilead begot Jephthah. Now, Gilead is a land. Gilead is not a person, okay? So when you start talking about Gilead, well, maybe that he is a person. I don't know. I was looking at that this morning. Jephthah was a Gileadite, but was there a man named Gilead? Gilead's wife bore sons. So you can look at this 2 different ways. Most of the people that I'm looking at says Gilead. We can't find a person whose name was Gilead. So is this talking about the city, about the town, about the village of Gilead? You do your homework, you find out for me, and let me know. One thing that I do want to let you know before I get further in is that prayer line is open for you at 505-310-9658 till 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't want to forget telling you about that one. So, is Gilead a person? Gilead's wife. It doesn't say Gilead's wives, so maybe he is a person. He bore sons, okay? Minor point. Let's not get caught up. Let's not major on the minors. We're very, very susceptible to that. Anyway, Gilead's wife bore sons, but when his wife's sons grew up, they drove Jephthah out and said to him, You shall have no inheritance in our father's house, for you are the son of another woman. So you are right. He was a son of another woman who happened to be a harlot. You know, might have had a addiction problem along. You know, today's you say, well, yeah, you know, she's a user and she's got this and she's got a storied history is what she has. Anyway, here we got this son, and his brothers, half-brothers, drive him out. Gilead's wife bore sons, so when his wife's sons grew up, they drove Jephthah out. But Jephthah was a guy, he was a mighty man of valor. He was one of those guys that just kind of stuck out from the rest, and everybody knew that this guy had, and Israel needed a Jephthah in this time. And even though that Gilead's sons drive him out, there was a time to where they called him back, okay? Jephthah fled from his brothers, dwelt in the land of Tob. Verse 3, we went over this yesterday. Verse 4 says, it came to pass after time that the people of Ammon made war against Israel. So it was when the people of Ammon made war against Israel that the elders of Gilead went to get Jephthah from the land of Tob. And they said, come and be our commander that we may fight against the people. Dude, you got that anointing. You got that valor. You're that man. You're that strong man that we need right now. Well, you drove me out. The heck? No. He says, okay, I'll do it. But, are you just going to use me? Are you just going to use me like a tin can, and the months you empty out the contents and I got nothing left? No, man. You get these Ammonites. Why were the Ammonites terrorizing Israel? Why were I got to ask you the question. Why were the Ammonites terrorizing God's covenant people? Because of their spiritual lackness. Is that a proper term? Spiritual lack. They were lack in the spiritual department. Things could have been going well in other areas, in other mountains there in Israel, but spiritually they had been fading away in their response to God. And all God is looking for is our love, all of our heart, all of our soul, all of our mind, all of our will, all of our strength, God. And the strength of Israel had been turned to false gods. And we see this pattern over and over again. I don't want to beat that horse too much this morning, but they have a need. The Ammonites have been coming over the Jordan River, terrorizing them and then going back. And they've had enough of it. Finally, they have enough of it, and they know really. And see, this is what's strange. They know what the solution is. They know exactly what the sooner or later they get down, And how many times in our personal lives do we try to do it the Frank Sinatra way? And we try it, and we try it. Isn't that what most of us do? We got problems in our lives. It could be addiction. It could be lust. It could be so many different things. It's pride, and all kinds of things that are bringing destruction into our life. Oh, we'll try the psychobabble on the internet. We'll try the latest and greatest vitamin or some type of a self-help program that's out over there. And God is just saying, hey, dude, when are you going to call on me? Because I tell you what, you call on him in your time of need, and God will be there for you. And this is what's happening to Israel. And Israel is a covenant people. These are people that are out of the covenant. These are people that are in the covenant. You need to understand that. Because even as Christians, we can fall into that term that I've coined already, spiritual lackness. That's, he says, you've gone cold on me, man. You're lukewarm. He says, you're lukewarm. I don't want you lukewarm. There's a river that's hot and a river that's cold, either one. But he says, you have mixture. There's that mixture within you. He says, I don't like that. And he calls them in. If you look at the 2nd and the 3rd chapter of book of Revelation, God speaks to 7 churches, and he has the cure to every one of their situations. Knock on the door, he says, I'll be there. Answer the door while I'm knocking, and I'll be there. And let's go buy gold. Try it in the fire. So I'm here to encourage you this morning. This is not to beat us up. This is to give us hope, but to get out of the present conditions that we find ourselves in many times, we need to know what the real situation is. If you go to the doctor and the doctor gives you the wrong prognosis, you go to the doctor, you got problems, something's the matter, it's wrong. if you can even get into the doctor anymore, if you know what I mean. But that's another story. But here, you go to the doctor, and the doctor says, oh, no, there's nothing wrong with you. And you go home, and it's still there. But the doctor said there's nothing wrong. You go to another doctor, oh, no, you're okay. There's nothing. I can't find nothing. And then you find out later that it was something that if you would have caught earlier in life, you're hopefully they catch it on time, if you know what I mean. Same way it is with a spiritual prognosis. And I'm here to tell you that we find ourselves in these situations many times, but the hope is that God is going to be there the same way he was there. Yahweh was there for Israel, even when he got kind of fed up with him at the end of the 10th chapter. He got a little fed up with him, but then, in fact, let's go over there. Somebody needs to hear this morning. I believe it's the end of the 10th chapter is that I got into this morning. So they put away the foreign gods. Watch what this is what God is telling Israel. You have forsaken me. See, finally they're calling out to him. Finally they got down to the bottom of the barrel. Okay, the self-help isn't going to use. The vitamins aren't using anymore. The latest and greatest psychobabble isn't helping them and doing anything for them. And they finally realize that. They're kind of like the woman who had the issue of blood. She spent all her money when Jesus could have healed her right away. Yet, he's telling Israel, you have forsaken me and served other gods. He says, I'm not going to deliver you anymore. Go out and cry to the gods which you have chosen. Let them deliver you your time of distress. And the children of Israel said to the Lord, we have sinned. Do to us whatever seems best to you. So they put away the foreign gods, and I'm jumping over phrases every once in a while. And the God's soul and his soul could no longer endure the misery of Israel. You want to talk about the love of God? About the patience of God, about the mercy of God. Oh my God. It's all over the book of Judges, and it can apply to our lives right now. Anyway, they call Jephthah, and they say, come and be our commander. And he says, okay, can I be, am I just going to be is this just going to be a 6-month contract? No. You do the job. You take us to first place. You win the Super Bowl. And dude, you're with us. You're going to be our coach for the rest, and general manager will make you okay, he says, let's go do it. And he does it. Okay. He does it. So what he does is this. And I'm going to try to finish off the half hour, the introduction of the program, until we get into our weather report here in a few minutes, by explaining to you where we were in yesterday's program, taking us up to that verse, I believe 22 is where we're at. So Jephthah sends a message to the Ammonites. Say, well, what's your beef? Well, why are you attacking us? What is it that you have against us? You guys keep coming in. And they said, 300 years ago, you took over this land that belongs to us. From the Arnon, verse 13, as far as Jabbok and to the Jordan. Now, give us those lands back. We want those lands. And our problem with you, Israel, is you stole those lands away from us. And Jephthah takes out his history book and shows him right there, chapter and verse, and says, hey, we didn't steal that land from you. You came and you attacked us. You attacked Moses and Joshua and the people. We had asked you for permission to pass through the land. You didn't give us permission to pass through the land, so we were skirting around your land. And then you decided that you were going to fight against us. So instead of just letting us go through, and you didn't let us go through, but we skirted the land. See, they weren't going to go. They didn't say, okay, they don't let us. No, let's go around. We're going to be good neighbors. We're going to go around. We got our right insurance policy, the good neighbor. And then you came out and you attacked us. So we said, okay, you guys want to fight? We'll fight. And they took this land away from us. You took this land? Yeah. You better believe we did. Your king, Sihon, did not trust Israel to pass through his territory. So Sihon gathered all his people together, encamped in Jahaz, and fought against Israel. And Yahweh, God of Israel, delivered Sihon and all his people into the hand of Israel, and they defeated him. He says, listen, all we asked for was permission. Didn't give it to us. Then we began to skirt around, and that's when you confronted us. And we won it in battle. So your story of how this land belongs to you is false. That's where we get into our verse for today, because this man is still talking to the Amorites. They're still negotiating this whole thing. And now, verse 23, the Lord God of Israel has dispossessed the Amorites from before his people Israel. Should you then possess it? Will you not possess whatever Chemosh, your God gives you to possess? So whatever Yahweh, our God, takes possession before us, we will possess. I like her. Weatherman says we're looking for a high today in Las Vegas at around 60 degrees with mostly sunny skies. North wind at 10 miles per hour. Tomorrow, 60 degrees, mostly sunny. North wind at 10 miles per hour. Looks like a twin of today. And then on Friday, partly cloudy. High around 57 degrees with west wind 9 to 14 miles per hour. Don't see any chances of precipitation according to our 7-day weather forecast for our area. It's been a strange, well, we've had winters like this before, you know. So before Chicken Little starts telling you the end is coming, don't get too involved in stuff like that. Anyway, let's get back into our study, because I just love the response of our man right about here, okay? Let me make sure that I have his name right, because we've been going through so many judges over and over again that I don't want to get Jephthah. I should have that written down on a piece of paper in front of me. Jephthah, okay? So here's what he tells. Here's what he tells the Ammonites. And I switched this over to the Message translation. We'll get back into New King James. Why don't you just be satisfied with what your God, Chemosh, gives you, and we'll settle for what Yahweh, our God, gives us? Okay? You see what the hassle is. You see what the point of contention is. It's that piece of land that the Amorites are still saying, this belongs to us. You guys took it away from us. You ripped it off. You stole it. He says, no. We didn't steal it from you. We took it rightfully. You guys started the battle. You guys came out against us 300 years ago. We defeated you and we took the land away from you. This land belongs. We have title deed to it. And if your God Chemosh, whatever his name is, whatever this dude is, whatever this demon is, if he's such a big shot, why did he allow us to take it? Just will you not possess, back to the New King James, will you not possess whatever Chemosh, your God, gives you to possess? So, whatever. I mean, you got your land, and you got your God, and you worship him, and you think he's the Almighty. Well, we say Yahweh's the Almighty, and we believe that Yahweh gave us this land, and we got it. And now, I love that. I could stay in verse 24 for a while. I could stay there for a long, long time. You think Jack Daniels is so tough? You think the King of Beers is so tough? You think the cartels in Mexico and all over the place are so tough? Where are they now? They can't save. They can't, all they can do is counterfeit. But eventually what they're going to bring is they're going to bring death and destruction, because their father, the liar, comes to kill, to steal, and destroy. Will you not possess? And we've seen this before. We've seen this where the judges have called out, I think it was Baal Berith a few chapters back, that they called him out and said, well, if he's such a big shot, let him come and do it. You know, here is where faith really begins to take. Do we really have faith in our God or not? Are we really, you know, you can listen to all the voices that are out over there, all the doubters, and all the other voices that are saying, yes, maybe, in between, or else we can go to His Word and walk in His Spirit and allow Him to speak into our lives, because God will speak to us and God will give us direction into our lives. You listen to God. You do what God, and these guys by faith, Jephthah is saying, hey, your God, our God. He gave it to us. You want it? Come and take it back. Call him out. This is proof of the spiritual battle that Israel knew. Not only did Israel know, but the Amorites knew this was a spiritual battle. As much as anything, this was the clash of kingdoms. And not just natural kingdoms, but supernatural kingdoms. Principalities, powers, rulers. And now, verse 25. Are you any better than Balak, the son of Zippor, king of Moab? Did he ever strive against Israel? Did he ever fight against them? You remember Balak? He was a guy who brought Balaam in and could take Israel down. Are you better than him, you Amorites? Remember the Moabites, they tried the same thing. Are you better? Are you stronger than Balak was? And the Amorites know that they weren't. The Amorites knew that they weren't stronger than the Moabites and their principality and power, who was Baal-berech. Verse 26, while Israel dwelt in Heshbon and its villages, in Aroer and its villages, and all the cities along the banks of the Arnon for 300 years, why did you not recover them within that time? What do they call that when you've and they haven't committed a crime? What do they call that? Is it when you have so much time to where they have to charge you within so they're charged? He says, listen, the statute of limitations are over with, boys. Yeah, are you saying 300? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just trying to use it as a way of us trying to understand, where we're at. Statute of limitation, 300 years, and you're still coming? You're still saying you want this land back? Therefore, I have not sinned against you. He said, we've been dwelling in this land for 300 years. What happened to all your kings? What happened to all your leaders what happened to them? Why do you bring this out now? Therefore, I have not sinned against you, but you wronged me by fighting against me. May the Lord Yahweh, the judge, render judgment this day between the children of Israel and the people of Ammon. So here's a very, very significant action. What Jephthah does is take this to the courts of heaven. He's taking it to the judge of all things, seen and unseen. He's taking it over the chief judge, the supreme judge over all things, our God, Father. We call him Father in heaven, the Old Testament Yahweh, Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. May the Lord, the judge, render judgment this day between the children of Israel and the people of Ammon. He says, let's take it to the court. Let's see what God says. Because Chemosh, apparently, he's not saying too much. Maybe he's like Baal, who was indisposed. However, the king of the people of Ammon did not heed the words which Jephthah sent him. So they don't like his response. And they think that, this is their time. They think this is, it's that spirit of Antichrist. That spirit of Antichrist thinks that this is his time. Hey, Holy Spirit is here in the church and with the people who are going to be strong in the power and the might of the Lord. And Jephthah was that guy. And the people were tired of the Ammonites ripping them off. The thief that comes to kill and steal and destroy. When are we going to get tired of being ripped off. We need a people. We need a people in fellowship together, all in the same ship, not in their own boats, just trying to say, well, we're going to take care of it. No, we're going to take care of it God's way in concert with one another. Then the Spirit of the Lord came upon Jephthah, and he passed through Gilead and Manasseh, and passed through Mizpah of Gilead, and from Mizpah of Gilead he advanced toward the people of Ammon. Okay, so he's going out toward the Ammonites, and he's collecting an army as he goes, and he's inviting people to the battle. Jephthah made a vow to the Lord Yahweh and said, if you will indeed deliver the people of Ammon into my hands, then it will be that whatever comes out of the doors of my house to meet me when I return in peace from the people of Ammon shall surely be the Lord's, and I will offer it up as a burnt offering. So, you see the title. If you're with us on social media, you'll see the title, Jephthah's Tragic Vow. This is his vow. He says, God, if you'll give me victory, when I come home, the first thing that comes out of my house, when I come home, the first one that meets me out of my house, when I come, it's going to belong to you. I'm going to dedicate that thing to you. Whatever comes out of the doors of my house to meet me, I'll return in peace. So Jephthah advanced toward the people of Ammon to fight against them. And the Lord Yahweh delivered them into his hands. Notice, and we haven't talked about it this morning yet. I don't think we even talked about it. Notice that the people of Israel, the Gileadites, and those people in that area have repented from their wicked ways. And God came to their aid. Finally, his soul was disturbed at the condition of the people, and they have repented, and they have leadership now, a man of valor, to lead them out into battle. So we go out. He advanced toward the people of Ammon, and the Lord Yahweh delivered them into his hands. God will fight for a people who are repentant. God will fight for a people who will begin to align with his purposes. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Oh, I love that prayer. I'm glad Jesus left that prayer for me to pray and to use it as an outline to continue to pray according to his will. He defeated them from Aurora. Remember, this is part of the town, part of the area that they were contending against. Israel had been living there. Amorites wanted it back. He defeated them from Aurora, which is as far as Minna, 20 cities, to Abel Keranim with very great slaughter. Thus the people of Ammon were subdued before the children of Israel. It's victory. When Jephthah came to, so they've pushed back the Ammonites. The land still belongs to Israel. When Jephthah came to his house at Mizpah, there was his daughter coming out to meet him with timbrels and with dancing. She was his only child. Besides her, he had neither son nor daughter. What was his vow? His vow was, and we see it there kind of on the top of the page. Not everybody's following along with me. He says, whatever comes out of the doors of my house to meet me, when I return in peace from the people of Ammon, shall surely be the Lord's. I will offer it up as a burnt offering. Now, don't get too wiggy on me here. We're not going to burn the daughter. We're going to offer up a burnt offering for her, because that was the Levitical way of doing it in place of, but she was going to, well, we'll show you what she's going to do, okay? I'll let the scriptures, for once, I'll let the scriptures speak for itself. She comes out to meet him, timbrels and dancing, and she's happy. Oh yeah, her dad, who was and remember where her dad came. Jephthah had been ostracized from his people, and she probably had borne along with his wife and others. That mark that, hey, yeah, well, your dad, you know who your dad, where your dad came from, and it came to pass when he saw her that he tore his clothes and said, Alas, my daughter, you have brought me very low. You are among those who trouble me, for I have given my word to the Lord Yahweh. I cannot go back on it. So she said to him, My father, if you have given your word to Yahweh, do to me according to what have gone out of your mouth. Because the Lord has avenged you of your enemies, the people of Ammon. And what she does is she says, Father, if you said something, do it. Don't worry about me. Because the Ammonites and all the destruction that they have been bringing on Israel, the Ammonite problem has been taken care of. Then she said to her father, Let this thing be done for me. Let me alone for 2 months, that I may go and wander in the mountains and bewail my virginity, my friends and I. So he said, Go, send her away for 2 months. She went with her friends and bewailed her virginity on the mountains. So she says, hey, give me a couple of months to hang with my friends, and we'll come back. He says, go on. He sent her away for 2 months. She went with her friends and bewailed her virginity on the mountains. She was not going to marry. For some reason, or this vow was going to be almost like the Nazirite vow. And the scripture doesn't give us enough. So probably some doctor someplace knows exactly of theology about all the whys and whys of what was going on here. But I know he's not going to burn his daughter. I know he's not going to burn his daughter. He's not going to offer. God would not accept a human sacrifice. But I know is that the sacrifice, the burnt offering, was going to be an animal. But at the same time, it was going to put restrictions on his daughter's life, the rest of her life. So it was at the end of 2 months that she returned to her father. Verse 39, he carried out his vow with her, which he had vowed. She knew no man, and it became a custom in Israel that the daughters of Israel went 4 days each year to lament the daughter of Jephthah the Gileadite. We look at it through our, current glasses, our viewpoint, and we say, well, what's the big deal? She didn't get married. It was a huge deal to these people. This was not a little thing. This was not saying, well, so she doesn't get married. Good for her. No. This wasn't good for these people. This wasn't good at all. This was something that was, was tough. But the father had vowed, it had happened, and they're going to back up. And here's another thing we know about Jephthah and the upbringing that he had of his daughter. His daughter says, let it be done according to your word. It kind of reminds you of somebody else, doesn't it? Huh? Let this thing be done for me. Verse 36 says, so she said to him, my father, if you have given your word to the Lord, do to me according to what has gone out of your mouth. Where else have we heard something like that before? Hello? Anybody? Anybody just guessing out there? Anybody else? So that is part of the story of Jephthah that we have here talking about it. And now time for us to turn into the 12th chapter. As we turn into the 12th chapter, we find out now we got another problem. Jephthah has another problem. What the heck is going on now? Well, good question. Now, it's kind of, and we've seen this already. You look at this now and you say, ooh, what the heck is going on? Let's see who's with us this morning. Debbie, Chana, Mike and Kareen are out over there. Darlene's with us this morning. Thank you very much, you guys, for being out there with us. Those are the ones that I see. Others are on there and incognito. Then, verse 1, then the men of Ephraim gathered together, crossed over towards Zaphon, and said to Jephthah, why did you cross over to fight against the people of Ammon and did not call us to go with you? We will burn your house down on you with fire. This is the second time we see the Ephraimites coming against the judge. If you remember, they said the same thing to Gideon. Why did you not call us? And Gideon, being a little bit more diplomatic than Jephthah, says, oh, come on. You guys are better than us, and everybody knows it. Everybody knows that your leftovers are better than our first crop. I mean, you guys, and they were pacified. What we have and what I see in the people of Ephraim is pride. Second time that they have come to a judge, first Gideon and now Jephthah, and say, why didn't you call us? We wanted to share in the glory. Well, wait. The glory wasn't yours to begin with anyway, son. The glory, and maybe that's why, but watch. Jephthah said to them, my people and I were in a great struggle with the people of Ammon, and when I called you, you did not deliver me out of their hands. He says, I called you people. Did you get the text? Give me your phone. Oh, look, there's the text right there. You didn't get the voicemail? You didn't get the invitation? I got the receipt from the post office that you say that you guys signed off. You know how they just trying to make it in a little way that we can understand it a little bit better. My people and I were in a great struggle with the people of Ammon. When I called you, you did not deliver me out of their hands. Where you guys been? We called on you. Remember, he had the receipt. What do you call that when you send a letter and you have to, make sure that they get it and they give you a receipt. So, when I saw that you would not deliver me, I took my life in my hands and crossed over against the people of Ammon, and Yahweh delivered them into my hand. Why then have you come up to me this day to fight against me? He says, well, what's this? What's this that I see, this bravery? Now your bravery. How come you didn't come before? Oh, and it's a matter of pride, ladies and gentlemen. They wanted the glory. And God does not share the glory with anyone. We do not want to be glory robbers. We do not want to be around, like the rooster with your chest all puffed out saying, I did this and I did that. And God, no. We got to be humble. We got to say, this is God and God alone, man. We're only here because of the grace of God. That's what Paul says. By the grace of God, go I. And he did a lot of things, and we could bring Paul up to this area where he doesn't belong, because that's God's throne. Well, Paul did this, and Paul says, I did it under the power and the grace of God. That's all I did is walk in the Spirit. All I did was follow the cloud during the day and the fire at night. Same way with Moses in the wilderness. See, Moses, no. Moses was the meekest man in all the earth. Now, Jephthah gathered together all the men of Gilead and fought against Ephraim. Go teach them boys a lesson, I guess, is what we're going to do here. Jephthah gathered together all the men of Gilead and fought against Ephraim. Now, Ephraim, remember, is the half tribe. Joseph had 2 sons, and Joseph was one of the 12, but Moses had divided up his sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, into their own, so he gets the double. Jephthah gathered, and what we got a half brother really fighting against. Now Jephthah gathered together all the men of Gilead, fought against Ephraim, and the men of Gilead defeated Ephraim. Gilead is not a tribe. Gilead is just a town, just a village. The men of Gilead, really the guys that were with Jephthah, defeated Ephraim because they said, you Gileadites are fugitives of Ephraim among the Ephraimites and among the Manassites. And in other words, he says, you guys don't even know where you belong. You don't know if you're on this side or that side. You're just kind of scattered out there. Just a hanging chad is all you are. Yeah, we're going to show Ephraim what this hanging chad can do. Verse 4 again. And we'll read it from the Message here in a few seconds. You Gileadites are fugitives of Ephraim, and among the Ephraimites and among the Manassites. What he's telling is Jephthah, he says, yeah, you guys are Gilead. The Ephraimites don't want you, and the Manassites don't want you. Let's see what the Message says. He says, Gileadites are nothing but half-breeds and rejects from Ephraim and Manasseh. Ooh, baby. Those words hurt. We're going to see who's going to hurt the worst. Jephthah gathered all the men, fought against Ephraim. Okay, they defeated Ephraim because they said this. Verse 5 says, the Gileadites seized the fords of the Jordan before the Ephraimites arrived. This is where they crossed over. See, this is the Ammonites had been crossing over these fords. The Ammonites had already been taken care of. But the Gileadites seized the fords. Today would have been the bridge. Okay, that was just where they were able to cross. I don't think they had bridges, but this was where the water was lower and wasn't as fast, and they were able to ford the river. You don't want your horse, floating downstream, or your donkey or whatever you're on. Anyway, here's what they do. They take the fords. They get ready. They get out over there. They take that land. And they said, hey, we got this place before you did. Very strategic place. We'll talk more in LP. It is a Wednesday morning, 12th day of January. Mark Saiz, your host, till 10 o'clock in the morning. Good morning to our Facebook and our YouTube social media people that are connected to us this morning. I'll be with you for about another 25 minutes or so as we continue in the 12th chapter of the book of Judges. 22 degrees is our current temperature. We have a 4-mile-an-hour breeze blowing out of the north, making it feel right now like it's about 16 degrees out there, but there was no frost on the windows this morning, so I guess it's just not humid enough and hasn't been it was yesterday and day before a little bit. But hey, Judges chapter 12 is where we're at right now. Don't forget our prayer line. It's open for you, not just for your prayer requests, but also for praise requests. You praise reports, okay? You got a praise report. God's done something. You want to seal it by sharing it, confess it with your mouth. There's a good place to it, 310-9658. Also, before we get back into Judges, all next week here at Cornerstone Church in concert with Victory Life Church and Heart of David Worship Center, we're having 5 nights of services Monday through Friday at 6:30 in the evening. Joshua and Kristen Humphrey from Florida will be with us in our regular service on Sunday, and then at 6:30 in the evening, Monday through Friday, and we're going to have a revival. You need healing. Somebody who needs emotional, physical, spiritual healing. Bring them to Cornerstone Church. Now, let's get back into that. Let me turn that one off and say, so what happens? Well, don't talk trash about us, man. Don't. Nobody wants you guys. You guys just a bunch of half-breeds is all you are. You don't know where you're Ephraim, or you don't know whether you're Manasseh, whatever you are. The Gileadites seized the fords, verse 5, of the Jordan before the Ephraimites arrived. So they get there first. Ephraimites are trying to run back. They're going to try to go back west across the Jordan. They had come over into the land of Manasseh, and now they're trying to go back. I think they're going from the east to the west is what's happening, because if we look at our map, we're going to pull it out over here real quick. If we look at our map, where Ephraim, that's where it is right there, okay? The Ephraimites. And here's Manasseh. So it seems like Gilead was right in this area someplace, and that's where they're talking trash about them, because they're real close to one another. So what has happened is, here's the Jordan River, okay, and they have seized the fords, and here was Ammon. They have fought Ammon already. The Ammonites, they've beat them already. Now they're coming back, okay? The Ephraimites are trying to, talking trash about them. Why didn't you call us? We did call you. You didn't show up. Now they're coming back to their tribal land on the west side of the Jordan, and the Gileadites have already seized the bridge. When any Ephraimite who escaped said, "Let me cross over," the men of Gilead would say to him, "Are you an Ephraimite?" And he would say, "No." If he said no, they would say to him, "Then say Shibboleth." Very, very interesting. I called George, my brother, yesterday, and he answered the phone, and I said, "George, say Shibboleth." He knew exactly what I was talking about right away. Okay? Watch this. Watch this how it goes down. "Are you an Ephraimite?" If he said no, then they would say to him, "Pronounce the word Shibboleth." And he would say Sibboleth, for he could not pronounce it right. So it sounds like if the Ephraimites had kind of a speech impediment, a lisp or something like that, I don't know what it is, but they could not pronounce the word Shibboleth. All they could say is Sibboleth. When he said Sibboleth, they knew that he was from Ephraim, because he could not pronounce it right. Then they would take him and kill him at the fords of the Jordan. There fell at that time 42,000 Ephraimites. Between the battle that they had confronted against Gilead, Jephthah and Gileadites, and those who had fallen at the ford of the Jordan as they were coming over, trying to sneak back home is what they're trying to do. They're talking big. We got a lot of big talkers, ladies and gentlemen, in the book of Judges. But not all of them can back up what they say, including some of the demon gods that are out there. 42,000 fell. Jephthah judged Israel 6 years. Then Jephthah the Gilead died and was buried among the cities of Gilead. So that's the story of Jephthah. No, we don't talk about him a lot. We don't think about him a lot. Not like Moses, not like David, not like Aaron, not like even Enoch and some of those other people. But Jephthah, the son of a harlot, he does pretty good for himself. But we know. Because we know, he put his trust in the Lord. After him, so he judged for 6 years. After him, Ibzan of Bethlehem judged Israel. He had 30 sons. He gave away 30 daughters in marriage. He brought in 30 daughters from elsewhere for his sons. He judged Israel 7 years. So Ibzan was a guy who believed in the beginning of Genesis, where God said, "Be fruitful and multiply." He's got 30 sons and 30 daughters. The 30 daughters he's given away to marry in marriage, and he's brought in 30 women for his sons. He's allowed them to marry 30 sons, and he judged in Israel 7 years. It was fruitful. And he was fruitful right along with it. There's peace in the land. Ammonites have been taken care of. Not Manasseh. Ephraim has, kind of gone back home. And after him, Elon, the Zebulunite, judged Israel, and he judged Israel 10 years. So you put the 6 of Jephthah, you put the 7 of Isban, and then you put another 10 over there, and you got about 23 years that we have had judges. And as long as they've had leadership, this is something that kind of as long as we had proper leadership going on, there was peace. Keep the people in the flow of the Holy Spirit, walking in the Spirit, trusting in God with all their heart, not leaning upon their own understanding. It was a decent time. And then verse 12, once again, and Elon. So just about the time, we have, now you know where this name comes from, the guy, the Tesla guy, Elon. Now you know where his name comes from the 12th verse of the 12th chapter of the book of Judges. Elon, the Zebulunite, died and was buried at Aijalon in the country of Zebulun. That's another tribal area, Zebulun. After him, Abdon, the son of Hillel, the Pirathonite, judged Israel. He had 40 sons and 30 grandsons who rode on 70 young donkeys. He judged Israel 8 years. When Abdon, the son of Hillel, the Pirathonite, died and was buried in Pirathon in the land of Ephraim in the mountains of the Amalekites. So it is showing us here, since Jephthah has passed away, that we have a series of judges who have continued the work. Okay? Ibsan, Elon, Abdon, okay? And Abdon had 40 sons. Well, I only had 30. This guy's got 40 sons and 30 grandsons, and he had nice little trucks for each and every one of them. They all had their own pickup trucks. I bet you they were four-wheel drives, and they were lifted up with some fancy tires on them. He had 40 sons and 30 grandsons who rode on 70 young donkeys. He judged Israel 8 years. And you can add all the time, where we were at, like about 23, 6 and 7, 13, then 10, 23, and then we have another 10 on top of that. That's 33, and then we have Hillel 8 years, so 41 years or so. Then Abdon, the son of Hillel, the Pirathonite, died and was buried in Pirathon in the land of Ephraim in the mountain of the Amalekites. Guess what's going to happen in the next chapter? And we're headed there because we have enough time to do it. Again. Hello. Did anybody say again this morning? This is the time that, we're preaching. You say, please, everybody, say again. And everybody says again. Judges chapter 13. Again, the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord. Yeah, we've had 40 years of peace. At least, thank Jephthah for coming to the, he leaves a great heritage. That's another thing about Jephthah. Maybe that's why my brother George, likes this guy, because, he leaves a great heritage. He's got 4 guys that come after him to keep the peace between Israel. They keep the covenant. They're covenant keepers is what they are. Again, the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord. And the Lord delivered them into the hand of the Philistines for 40 years. So, maybe we can start talking about 40-year cycles. I don't know. I don't know if we can or not. That's not really what we're trying to do here. But and there was a certain man from Zorah, of the family of the Danites, not Danites, the Danites. They're not Danish people. They're from the tribe of Dan, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren, and he had no children. Let's see where Dan is at. Okay, I guess I'm going to have to open this up again. I think it's way up north is where Dan is at. Oh, no. Middle, right above Judah. up against the Mediterranean is where Dan is at. There was a certain man from Zorah of the family of the Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren, and he had no children. And the angel of the Lord Yahweh appeared to the woman and said to her, Indeed now you are barren, and have borne no children, but you shall conceive and bear a son. So the angel appears to this woman, to Manoah's wife, so far unnamed, okay? The angel of the Lord appeared to many women throughout the Bible. Mary, the one that, hey, blessed art thou amongst women. That's what the angel told her. And blessed is the fruit of thy womb. Oh, yeah. You think this is the... Is this the Catholic hour? The angel of the Lord. No, but man, dude, you can't throw out the baby with the bathwater. The angel of the Lord appeared to the woman and said to her, Indeed now you are barren and have borne no children, but you shall conceive and bear a son. Now therefore, please be careful not to drink wine or similar drink, nor to eat anything unclean, for you shall conceive and bear a son, for behold, you shall conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come upon his head, for the child shall be a Nazirite to God from the womb. Now we have seen the vow of the Nazirites. Let's see if it's in Numbers. You can check out, write down Numbers chapter 6, the beginning of chapter 6. It talks about the Nazirite vow. A vow that any Hebrew, any people in covenant with Yahweh could take the vow of a Nazirite. It wasn't always a lifetime commitment. You could become you become a Nazirite because you wanted to for a certain amount of time. You might say this summer or this year, I'm going to take the vow of a Nazirite if you lived in Israel, and no strong drink, no cutting of the hair, and there's some other things that were attached along with it. Let me see if I can find out what they are. He shall separate himself from wine and from similar drink. He shall drink neither vinegar made from wine or vinegar made from similar drink, neither shall he drink any grape juice, nor eat any fresh grapes or raisins. All the days of the vow of his separation, no razor shall come upon his head until the days are fulfilled, for which he separated himself to the Lord. He shall be holy. Holy means separated away. So, the angel comes and speaks to Zorah's wife. Oh, her name was Manoah. Let's give her props, okay? So the angel of the Lord comes and talks to Manoah and says, you're going to bear a son. You've been barren all this time, but hey, your time's a-coming. Be careful not to drink wine or similar drink, nor to eat anything unclean, for behold, you shall conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come upon his head, for the child shall be a Nazirite to God from the womb. He shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. We had peace for 40 years. Now we got the Philistines slapping us around for another 40 years. What's up with that? I think there's a better way, ladies and gentlemen. I think we can learn from this. There's a better way. We talk about it here at Cornerstone. Ernie and I talking all the time about it's a lifestyle. It's not just a Sunday or a Wednesday or just some of the time. It's a lifestyle. He who endures to the end shall be saved. So the woman came and told her husband, saying, a man of God came to me, and his countenance was like the countenance of the angel of God, very awesome. But I did not ask him where he was from, and he did not tell me his name. And he said to me, behold, you shall conceive and bear a son. Now drink no wine or similar drink, nor eat anything unclean, for the child shall be a Nazirite to God from the womb to the day of his death. So she goes to her husband, and she says, hey, guess what happened to me? you know, it wasn't the pizza. Okay, I'm off the wine. I ain't drinking that stuff no more. Just kidding. Okay, most of the wine that they're talking about was watered down. It was not, 10 proof or 20 proof. It was watered down, and they used it to drink, but they used it to purify the water many times, make sure to kill the germs if there's any germs in the water. That's what they use the wine for, and cut it. Then Manoah prayed to the Lord and said, "O my Lord, please let the man of God whom you sent come to us again and teach us what we shall do for the child who is born." So Manoah says to her husband what had happened, and then she prays to Yahweh, says, "Let that guy come back and give us more information. We want to be sure that we do it the way you want us to do it." God listened to the voice of Manoah, and the angel of God came to the woman again as she was sitting in the field. But Manoah, her husband, who's I thought Manoah was the wife. Come on, Mark, get it right. Certain man from Zorah, the family whose name, okay. So we still don't know what the name is. Excuse me. I stand corrected. Let me see if any of my social media people are correcting me over there and telling me, "Oh, dude, you got it all wrong." Really? They did tell me it's return receipt. Thank you. Tommy and Andrea are on. Darlene's on. So Manoah arose and followed his wife. When he came to the man, he said to him, "Are you the man who spoke to this woman?" And he said, "I am." Manoah said, "Now let your words come to pass. What will be the boy's rule of life and his work?" We want to do what you want us to do. We believe that this is God. But you need to give us a little bit more information. You need to help us out here. So the angel of the Lord said to Manoah, "Of all that I said to the woman, let her be careful. She may not eat anything that comes from the vine, nor may she drink wine or similar drink, nor eat anything unclean. All that I command her, let her observe." So, it's a Nazirite. It's a vow of a Nazirite. Be sure, let's see. All that let her observe, anything comes from the vine, she may drink, nor eat anything unclean. All that I command her, let her observe. Then Manoah said to the angel of the Lord, "Please let us detain you. We will prepare a young goat for you." So what Manoah says is, "Hey, can you stay for supper? We're gonna prepare you." And the angel of the Lord said to Manoah, "Though you detain me, I will not eat your food, but if you offer a burnt offering, you must offer it to the Lord." For Manoah did not know he was the angel of the Lord. Okay. Then Manoah said to the angel of the Lord, "What is your name?" The Bible talks to us many times, and this doesn't quite qualify there, but we might be angels unaware. What's the word that it uses in the Bible about entertaining angels unaware? You just never know. You just never know. And God might send it. But this is a different one. This is the angel of the Lord. This could very well be the only begotten son visiting Manoah and his wife. There's a lot of talk about, from different theologians about who the angel of the Lord is and all that stuff. Another detail that we don't get wrapped up in sometimes, the angel of the Lord said to him, "Why do you ask my name, seeing it is wonderful?" So, well, it's not a detail. What if? Well, what if? What if? It doesn't change anything. The angel of the Lord said to him, "Why do you ask my name, seeing it is wonderful?" Because Manoah said to him in verse 17, "What is your name, that when your words come to pass, we may honor you?" The angel of the Lord said to him, "Why do you ask my name, seeing it is wonderful?" Manoah took the young goat with the grain offering, offered it upon the rock to the Lord. He did a wondrous thing while Manoah and his wife looked on. It happened as the flame went up toward heaven from the altar, the angel of the Lord ascended in the flame of the altar. So Manoah brings the young goat. He didn't prepare it as a meal. He prepared it according to the angel of the Lord's directions as a burnt offering. He said, no, I'm not going to eat with you. I'll wait while you do this whole thing. He says, you're detaining me. That's good. I got the time. I'm looking at my schedule. Everything's okay. But he says, offer it as a burnt offering. So Manoah gets it. He prepares it. He offers it a burnt offering. And then the angel of the Lord ascends in the fire up into heaven. It happened as the flame went up toward heaven from the altar. The angel of the Lord ascended in the flame of the altar. When Manoah and his wife saw this, they fell on their faces to the ground. They said, dude, this wasn't just some low-level angel here. When the angel of the Lord appeared no more to Manoah and his wife, then Manoah knew that he was the angel of the Lord. Remember, he had asked his name. So now he knows who he had been speaking to and who he could give the glory to, because that's what he wanted to know. Manoah said to his wife, we shall surely die because we have seen God. But his wife said to him, if Yahweh had desired to kill us, he would not have accepted a burnt offering and a grain offering from our hands, nor would he have shown us all these things, nor would he have told us such things at this time. Thank God for a woman that knows her God. Manoah says, man, I think this is it, Mama. I think we're toast, man. We might as well sign the last will and testament, make sure that all our papers, because I think we're going to go. She said, no, this doesn't make sense. Let's think it out there, Manoah. Why would God tell us all these things if he was going to take us out? He accepted our offering. So the woman bore a son and called his name Samson. And the child grew, and the Lord blessed him, and the Spirit of the Lord began to move upon him, Mahanadan, between Zorah and Eshtaol. So that's where we're going to leave it for today at the end of the 13th chapter. Put your bookmark on the 14th chapter of the book of Judges. Thank you, everyone.
Lord, you are